Let's take you back now to Harare in Zimbabwe, where SABC News' Khayelihle Khumalo is standing by. Khayelihle, I saw you a little bit earlier having some trouble trying to speak to some of those voters. Have you heard anything from them at this point?
Well, absolutely, Naledi. It's a very interesting day here in Zimbabwe as the country is going to the polls. A very important time for Zimbabwe. So when you do engage with the voters, they do insist that it's quite a very important, really, moment for this country to have such an opportunity to vote. But also it's a very special place because a short while ago, this is where the incumbent President Emmerson Mnangagwa voted alongside the First Lady and also the first family as well. Some of the children of the president as well were here. But it's been quite a very interesting time for this country of the campaign trail. So the visuals you're seeing right now, you can see the very interest from the voters coming out, making sure that they exercise their democratic rights. But also you do have the observers on the ground to make sure that the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission is able to make sure that they deliver the very free, fair and very peaceful elections. And in fact, the message of peace was a very main one from President Emmerson Mnangagwa when I asked him about the message to the nation, but also sounding very victorious in terms of his demeanor and how he spoke about really just making sure that he's going to almost like a battle, a very fierce battle, and saying that he's going into this particular election very adamant about his electoral fortune. So we'll be crisscrossing the country, really getting an idea from other opposition leaders as well who are voting at this particular moment.
Yeah, it certainly is interesting though, and we know that the president has of course cast his vote. What are you hearing from the opposition party at this point? And is there a difference between what you would see perhaps in the urban areas with voters coming out versus what it would look like in the peri-urban or even rural areas in Zim? Okay.
Well, it's been a very fierce contest, you know, when you just look at how the campaign trail unfolded, you know, and looking at across the country, because really when you look at the context of these elections, as much as you do have 11 presidential candidates, really it boils down to the two main horses. That's, of course, the incumbent President Mnangagwa and, of course, the Triple C, which is a new kid on the block in the political landscape in Zimbabwe, led by Nelson Chamisa. They've spoken about so many issues really facing this particular country, pertaining to the economic issues, whether you're looking at the issue of the cost of living crisis, not really just peculiar to Zimbabwe. It's almost like a global phenomenon, but Zimbabwe really facing its own shares of problems. But really something that is quite important for the electorate. You know, you do find those who are really agitating for change, but then you have those who are pretty satisfied with the situation. But all in all, a lot of people that you have been speaking to, they are looking forward to these polls, to the outcome that will finally come. And now we know that the electoral body is going to face a very enormous task, especially just to give you an idea of where we are positioned. I mean, it's an area where there are two polling stations that are located, and you have about almost 1,500 eligible voters who are expected. Very good voter turnout, especially because there has been a lot of campaign that has been done in terms of conscientizing and galvanizing support for the electorate to come through and make sure that they do exercise their democratic rights, which is quite important for Zimbabwe.